This is a Sony Vaio tablet PC. This is from 2004, and this unit here doesn't start up properly, so I am going to take it apart and then I'm going to fix it. Turning this on, we get an error on the screen. It says error loading operating system. So I think the hardware in this is all okay, but we have a bad install of the operating system. We'll do a quick overview. This is a 800 by 600 5-inch touchscreen. It's got a Pentium M, which can go up to 1.1 gigahertz, half a gig of RAM, and it was designed for Windows XP. We've got a USB, the wireless LAN on and off. Look at that, a Control-Alt-Delete button. Power, docking station. It's a VGN U71P model. Power, hold, and headphone socket with remote control. On the top, there's a standby button and a memory stick slot and a compact flash card slot. To install a new operating system on this, I am going to have to use the dock, because that's the only way to practically do an external boot for a new operating system. There's a USB, 3 USBs, so there's 4 USBs, Firewire power, and VGA wired Ethernet and the power input. So fortunately I do have that dock, because there's no way to practically external boot this device unless you have the dock itself, especially the compact flash card slot, which is a very slow non-bootable compact flash card slot, and this card is going to come in very useful, so we'll come to that a bit later. Now let's get this up and running, shall we? Now here's the thing about this Vaio from 2004, is that you cannot do a USB optical drive boot. The BIOS simply doesn't support it. The only way to boot an optical drive is to use the iLink Firewire port. And guess what? I don't have one of those. Which means we're going to have to get a little bit creative when we want to reinstall this operating system. But before we do that, I want to do an upgrade of the internal hard drive. I suspect this hard drive is not faulty, but I do want to upgrade it to a solid state disk of some sort. In fact, I'm going to do a period upgrade, which means I'm actually going to remove the hard drive and boot the operating system from a compact flash card. There's the back of the unit. We'll do a nice close-up of the label there. It looks like we've got that panel there, and that's for the RAM expansion, and then this panel here, which looks like it has to do something with the memory card. Now there is a service manual for this thing, which I have had a brief look at, but it doesn't exactly tell me the order in which I need to take it apart, so I am just going to start by removing all the screws, getting the back off, and seeing what we've got inside. Okay, all screws are out. I'm going to start by removing this back panel, hopefully without breaking anything. There we go. That wasn't too bad. Yeah. That just comes straight off. And there we go, there's the main board. I think we have to keep taking this casing apart. Let's try and work out how this goes. Oh, Right, so a couple of pieces there. Let's just gently get this casing apart. The side casing is coming off. Okay. It's very slowly coming apart. Something seems stuck on that corner. What is it? Okay, so we do have this. Let's see if we can just unplug that. I'm not sure how tightly that is in there, so we'll just okay, I think instead of disconnecting that, we'll see if we can unscrew there. Okay, now what else is holding it in? Okay, we have a couple of antenna cables, but I think that gets us in enough, because now we have the hard drive that we're going to replace. Right, there's our hard drive, and that's a 30 gigabyte. And instead of using an SSD, I'm actually going to replace it with this 8 gigabyte compact flash card. Now the reason I'm doing this is that this SanDisk Extreme 4 was released in 2006, so this is a fairly period specific upgrade, and this is the sort of upgrade I would have done back in 2006 if I had this computer back then. One thing you'll notice is that the interface on the hard drive and the compact flash are very similar, but they're not the same. They're actually quite different. The first thing I have to do is use an adapter, and I have one here. This will convert compact flash and change all the pins so that it matches up with the hard drive interface that this computer uses. There's another catch to using a compact flash card in place of a hard drive, and that is compact flash cards are removable disks, and Windows won't install onto a removable disk. However, there's this little program called atcfwcgh.com, and I'm going to use that now to switch this over to a fixed disk, and then it should be able to run as an SSD just fine. Now to do that, I'm going to have to put this into a DOS computer, and I'm going to do that with this adapter here first of all, and this will adapt it to standard old parallel ATA interface. And I'm also going to use this parallel ATA to serial ATA converter, like that. Now I can go to my desktop and plug this in, and it needs to be a master. The program that does the conversion does need to have this as a master IDE device, so that is set to master. This is an internal program that came from SanDisk, although when you run it, it doesn't mention SanDisk at all. Okay, that was successful. We now have a converted compact flash card, which should work in this computer as a boot drive. The way I'm going to do this is perhaps not do a full reassembly just yet, but get it powered up and see if we can get it booting, and see if the Windows installer recognizes it. Okay, we're on the dock without the casing on the computer, and that looks okay. Slide the battery in. Here we go. So it's connected to its battery while in the dock. And now let's see if it powers up. Yeah, it does. Okay, time to do an external boot. So let's clear the area a little bit and make some space. Okay, I'm ready to do an external boot. and I don't have a iLink Firewire optical drive. However, this computer will boot from a USB floppy disk. It won't boot from any USB optical drives, certainly won't boot from any USB memory sticks, but it will actually boot from this, believe it or not. As well as the floppy drive, I've made 6 floppy disks which hold the Windows XP Tablet Edition installation environment. I also have a USB keyboard which I will be using as part of the installation process. I also have a USB CD-ROM drive which I can put the Windows Tablet Edition CD in. Oh, I just heard it. There it goes. Setup is inspecting your... Wow, that is amazingly slow. Please insert the disk labelled Windows XP Professional SP2 setup disk number 2. Okay, let's do that. And press enter when ready. I mean, these floppy disks only have 1.44 megabytes on each one, but they really like to take their time with that data, don't they? Okay, we have welcome to setup. Now let's see what happens when we ask it to set up Windows XP. Enter. And setup did not find any hard disk drives. Cannot continue. I'm going to have a close look at this adapter because the soldering on it looks to be pretty dodgy. So I'll be back soon after I've had a close look. Definitely found at least one of the pins on the adapter was not connecting, so I've resoldered most of them, and now I've got to do it all again with the floppy disk boot. Though I think I will set up a network boot option just so I can try different operating systems on this computer. If I have a network boot environment, I can at least see if Windows 10 or 7 or 8 will install onto this. I'm pretty sure it'll run 7, don't know about 10. 10 needs at least a gigabyte of RAM, this only has half a gigabyte. Okay, there's been a change of plan with this thing. I've been testing with the USB to Toshiba hard drive adapter, and I haven't been able to get this to work at all. I have tested with the hard drive out of the Vaio and with this iPod hard drive, and these work with this USB adapter. And I have also got another compact flash, but this time to a ZIF adapter, which combined with a ZIF connector to Toshiba hard drive output. When I use it with the USB adapter, I got this to work. So instead of this one, I'm going to use this one. So let's get that installed and see what we get. Right, so this goes in this way. I'll put just a bit of double-sided tape in here. There we go. There, that's stuck pretty firmly now. Okay, I'm going to do a network install. I have a Fujitsu laptop here which has installation files on it. Okay, this laptop needs an adapter for wired LAN. This is due for an SSD upgrade as well, so that should be in the next video. See how that goes. Okay, we've got our boot server up and running. Let's try installing XP tablet using this method. Hopefully this time it will work. Alright, we're going to DHCP, get an IP address. Yep, the server's detected, and we've got multiple versions of XP. 3 of them are the tablet version, the top 3, so let's go with the top one and install. And we're on our way. Let's continue the installation. Alright, an exciting new look. We've got Windows XP with the installation, 39 minutes to go. I accept the agreement. Thank you, Microsoft. An exciting new look. Okay, we have a driver that is not signed, but we want to install it, so let's do it. Yep. Okay, and we're going to name this computer Surface. Yes, that's right. Okay, we've got the screen adjustment resolution done, and we'll finish our first boot up into Windows XP tablet. And there's the keyboard that's come up, so we know all the tablet components have installed correctly. That's good. There we go. We've got our Windows XP tablet startup. Right, there we go. Welcome to Tablet PC. We can get going, or we can do a tutorial. For now, I'm going to turn this off and reassemble the unit. Okay, time to quickly reassemble the Vaio tablet. Everything looks good. We've got our compact flash card with Windows. It could just be a matter of putting the casing back. How do I do this? Okay, it's going on. Okay. Yeah, that's not too bad. Now, that piece there. Looks okay. Let's put all screws back in. Got to change the BIOS so that it doesn't do the network. Okay. Successful install. Okay, Tablet Edition has installed well, and there's the keyboard on the logon screen for some reason. So there we have it. This is my first time with Windows XP Tablet Edition, and I have installed the Zune theme, and the background is the background that comes with either Tablet or Media Center Edition XP. So it looks a bit different, and there's a bit of a mismatch in the colors between the start bar and start menu in the background, but I think that the contrast is pretty good for this little unit. So down here is my keyboard. I'm pretty happy with that. And I have 28 days left for activation. How am I going to do that if the XP activation servers are no longer online? I'll work out something around that. I'm not sure that I'd want to type a novel using this keyboard, but it's pretty good to have it there for quick password entry or something. And XP comes with some interesting apps. There they are. Ink Art. So there's some, there we go. That's an interesting sort of a program. And Ink Desktop. And have a look at that, that's something that I scribbled earlier. So that just sort of hangs around. I guess I can make notes. I can make notes over the desktop. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. And exit out of that. We've got something called sticky notes. So it's gone pretty well. I'm happy with that. I'm still having problems mapping some of the buttons. I've got more drivers to install, and I've got a couple of different versions of the button utility, so I think these are going to be a bit of a challenge, but we'll see what happens with that. And there we have it. There is the Sony Vaio U series, in this case the U71P, running Windows XP Tablet Edition on a compact flash card as the main drive in the unit.